Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So today I thought I would do the first page in my Rogues Gallery journal that you saw me create late last year. So that was the front cover. I actually created the journal and did the back using the William Morris papers and all these little bits of ephemera. And the idea was just to build up throughout the year a set of images, Rogues Gallery, as kind of a little project to do now and again when the mood took. And today the mood took me. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do page 1 for January. I'm not going to do the inside front cover. I'm going to leave that for another day. Or I may use what's left of this paper to cover that, just so there's a little bit of consistency and cohesion across that double page spread. But I'm not really bothered about getting that kind of cohesion on the inside front cover. You'll understand why. So I'm going to work on this page. So that's the gallery, or the journal that I'm going to work on. That's going to be my first page. I'll put a link in the description area below, or if I remember, I'll put one of those clickable linky things to this if you want to see how I created this journal, because it is a stitched journal. And the front cover, I'll put it up there somewhere. Then you can come back and watch this one, so you'll know what I'm talking about. So to get started then, I'm going to put this to one side because I know the size of these pages. I know what size I need to work on to get them to fit, because I've already got a template that's going to give me a bit of a whiteboard all the way around. So I know exactly what size piece of card to cut for it to fit, just like on that page there. But if you're interested, we have, these pages are slightly smaller anyway. So the page is, let's say, 11 centimeters by 16 centimeters. So in old money, that's going to be 4.5 by 6.5 or thereabouts. So as long as it fits somewhere within that page. So if I work on, say, 10.5 centimeters by 15.5, we can't go wrong. So I'll put that to one side. So the base that I want to use is from a Tim Holtz paper. So this is from the Tim Holtz 8x8 Collage paper pad. So that's that one. It is a real one. It's not one of my... I normally, when I buy these pads, I normally scan them so that I've got them forever for my own personal use. But this is an actual one from the pad, and it's that one there on the front. The colour's a bit different. It's more yellowy on the front cover than it is on real life, but never mind. So I'll put that to one side, and then I'm going to cut it to the size that I said, if I remember rightly. What was it? 10.5 by 15.5, wasn't it? Yes, it was. So that's going to be my main sheet. So 10.5 by 15.5. There we go. So we can put those to one side for use at a later date. So my base image is going to fit on the page there with that nice kind of like white border all the way around. I'm not going to stick it in just yet because I'm going to work on top of that with all the other bits. So I've got a piece of torn music paper. I've got my photographs that I want to use as part of my assemblage collage, and my other bits of ephemera that I want to cluster together to create. Now I'm going to add some washi tape onto this because I've got a kind of yellowy green theme going on, because there's yellow and green in that little mini mat there. There's kind of yellow colour on that pen advert. I've got green going on in that stamp. Then the predominant colour, apart from that background kind of browny sepia tone, is kind of yellowy cream and green. So I've got some washi tape, but it's not yellow and it's not green. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and colorise it using some archival inks. So I've got my vintage photo for my distressing, but I've also got the peeled paint. I'm hoping that because it's archival and it's solvent, it will change the colour of this washi tape. But we'll see when we get round to using it. So first of all, right, I've got my torn piece of music paper, so I want to distress that. So I'm just going to grab my vintage photo archival, and I'm just going to go all the way down. I'm not going to bore you to death by distressing every single piece, because I know how boring that can be, just sitting watching somebody distress something. So all the other little bits I've already done, but I just wanted to have a chat while I was doing this, just to explain why it's important that you do go around the edges with a colour. Now, I'm using Vintage Photo, which is a dark brown colour, which is a great neutral colour and will unify and make cohesive practically anything that you do, because brown goes with practically anything. It's like grey. It's one of the, grey is the new neutral kind of thing. But it doesn't matter what colour you use. As long as you use the same colour around everything, your entire project will unify, because you've got that commonality of the same colour border on everything. It doesn't matter whether it's green, whether it's brown, whether it's purple, whether it's blue or whatever. As long as it's got the same colour all the way around, it will be cohesive and it will hang together better. Cohesiveness and unification in your projects is one of those things that most people kind of get wrong. They kind of stick things down that are of different colours, so that they'll put too many different colours together, and it just doesn't tend to work. As long as you stick with either a warm, cold, or cool, or the same colour throughout, you can't go wrong. So that's why I'm doing that. So I also want to go around just the edge of that Tim Holtzy paper there, just to get rid of those raw white edges. Because it's already brown colour anyway, then we don't have to do too much with it in the first place. And because you've kind of got the same colour on the back as you have got the front, the same kind of neutral tone, it doesn't matter what side of the paper you use. But for visual interest, I'm obviously going to use the side that's got the writing on it, or the graphics on it, rather than the plain side, because that really would be boring, wouldn't it? But it's not really plain. It has got a kind of pattern on it. It's like a mottled pattern, but not enough for what we want. So I'm just going to quickly go around, trying not to crease it. I'm going a bit too fast, because obviously I'm conscious of time. I don't particularly want this video to be an hour long, although I know you don't mind it, you at home. Okay, so that's kind of got that, so let me just get rid of that. And that's just a bog standard baby wipe. And as long as you get onto your solvent while it's still wet and not dried onto your top, you should be okay just to lift it off with that. See, all gone. Right, so there's my base. I then want to add this bit of music paper over the top as my first layer. So to do that, I'm going to use some wet glue. And I'm just going to, and again, I'm not particularly bothered about getting it right to the edge, because if it dries and some of the edges lift up, that's fine. It just gives us a little bit more kind of depth and texture to the project. But I'm using the wet glue because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to try and get the same kind of border at the top as I have got down the side, kind of equal spacing, just to get a kind of equal frame. I'm just going to push and hold it a little bit. Because these papers are coated, because obviously they've got ink on them, it will take just a second or two for that ink just to soak through the top coat and then grab. You can always tell because your paper kind of goes, meh. It goes a little bit limp when the glue soaks through that top layer. Okay, so that's my first layer done, and then I'm going to position my photograph somewhere about there to start creating my cluster. But I want to add things underneath, tuck bits underneath it. So I can either put a little blob of glue just on there just to hold it, and I'm using just a little bit of dry, just about where I want it. So about there's nice. Yeah, about there. Just push that down just to hold it in place, and then I can audition my other pieces. So I've got this little map of Europe. So I'm going to put dry glue stick on the back of this, and for me I'm using the Dilutions Diary glue stick only because I've got it and it does the job. It'll be a little bit too high up just yet. Yeah, maybe about there, I think. So that can get pushed down like so. And then I want my pen advert. So again, add the glue onto the back of there. Like so. And then I can tuck that under. So I think just over there, like so, I think. Just maybe about there. Yeah. So I'll just push that down, and don't forget my main photograph isn't stuck down just yet. I've left the sides so that I can tuck things underneath it fairly easily. Okay, so that cluster's coming on quite nicely. Now I want to start adding some of that colour, or those colour elements to it. Right, so before I add my stamp and my little number tag, I want to add some of that washi tape on there. So I'm going to just pull off a length of washi tape there, lay it down on my mat. Actually, let me move it so you can see it a bit better. There we go. See it right in the middle. Now you can see it's kind of got that brownish tone to it, but I want to add some colour. So I'm just going to use the archival peeled paint, and I'm just going to go over the top, and you can see how it's starting to add just a little bit of a green tone. Because it's a solvent, it's just adding that green colour to it. If you've got some of those Faber-Castell, what do they call them, pit pens, you could probably do the same thing with that, because that's India ink. And again, once it's dry, it's permanent, a bit like this. Okay, so that's that one. I also want to try with a different pattern. If I can find the edge. And there's about 101 different ways in which to not lose the edge of your washi tape, which I always seem to forget, from adding tabs of paper clips on there to bits of cotton to you name it. So I'm going over the top And as you can see, it's changing the colour. It's changing the colour of that washi tape. And I've often thought, would it just be easier just to get white washi tape and then just change the colour whenever you need it. So I'm going to just carry on adding a couple of layers of this colour on this washi tape for a minute or two, just kind of letting it soak in. And it would be a lot easier, I know, if I actually had some green washi tape, but I don't. I do have green, but it's just the wrong kind of colour green, and it's also the wrong pattern. It's more Christmassy, and that's not what I want for this, so which is why I decided to use a more generic kind of pattern. Okay, so and I need to leave that to dry for a minute or two. In the meantime, I'm going to try and pop off my main image, and then I can add some glue onto the back now. Okay, so that's my main focal point. Nearly stuck it down upside down. I stuck it on upside down, and just pop that back where it was, around about there, and I think, and then we'll just pop a little bit of weight on that just to hold it down. Let that dry, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my washi tape is pretty much dry, and so is the main focal image for my little cluster. So I'm just going to grab some of that washi tape and then just tear it, and I want to go across there like so, and then another piece I think will go just there, and then the third piece I'm going to put at the top there. So again, I've tried to create that kind of triangle shape, just to create that little bit of visual triangle going on. So that second bit of washi tape, I'm now going to add over the top of that first piece, just along that line there, and then we can add maybe just another little piece just going down there. Yeah, don't need that other bit. Okay, so I've now got my little green postage stamp. Oh look, glue stick tops come off. That means it must be dead. And that was the last one as well. Right, what else have I got in my little collection? Not quite as small, but it'll do. Big Elmer's glue stick. Let's coat the back. And again, I've already gone around these little pieces just to add that distress on there. Like that. And then, just before I add my last little number pad, I'm going to see if I can get this clip just under there, just as a little bit of metallic texture. Okay, that was just before the glue had set completely. And then just add that onto the back. add that along the bottom, just there. Whoops. Whoops. And there we go. I think that is going to be number 1 for my Rogues Gallery. So, just move that to one side, bring the book back in, and now I can add some glue to the back and stick that down in pride of place. So I'm going to use the wet glue. I'm not going to go mad and add tons and tons of this glue on. I'm just going to do, I never opened the hole far enough. There we go, that's better. I think just around the edges, that should be enough, maybe a little bit in the middle. And then I can lay that down and make sure I've got it pretty much square on, I think. Now let me just have a look to see how big, yeah, see that's not the right size, so I don't think I'm going to use that for the inside front cover. So all I need to do now is just add a little bit of weight onto this just to hold it down, because it's kind of curving a little bit on those edges, because that's just the way it rolls. What else have I got that's heavy? Oh yes, that. And then that. And I'll be back when it's a little bit more dry. Okay, so my first page in my Rogues Gallery is stuck down, but I thought I may as well do the front and back inside covers, seeing as I'm here, and just to pad the video out a little bit. So I've gone across to my 12 by 12 paper collection. I've found an old piece of, it's an orphaned Tim Holtz one. I've no idea what set this one came from. My brain's telling me it could be the Wallflower set, I don't know, but that's from the same sheet. That goes up there somewhere, or that bit goes up there somewhere, and that piece goes in there that way. And I've already gone around the edge with distress ink just to kind of give it that grungy look. So that's what I'm going to put on the inside front and inside back of my Rogues Gallery. So I'm going to do that now while you're with me, so that you know I've done it and you won't ask me another day where those pieces came from, because I've told you now, you've been told. So just go around there and then whip up and down just to add a little bit, and then I'm going to add that to the inside cover. Try and get it even as much as I can. Top, bottom, because it is, the covers are slightly bigger than the pages by design. There we go. So hopefully when that dries, that will then straighten that front cover out, because the glue will then pull back in the opposite direction. That's the plan anyway. Okay, so let's do the back cover, or back inside cover. See, knowing my luck, I'll probably end up sticking it down upside down or something ridiculous like that, because that's just the way I roll. Never claimed to be perfect. Never claimed to be any good, for that matter. Okay, so that's, at least we know which way is up and which way is down. Okay, so let's bring that one in. Again, let's see if we can make that as even as we can. Excellent. Okay, so of course now we've got that down, it also means that if we wanted to, we could add some bits of ephemera to the front and the back at a later date. So there you go. That is the start of my Rogues Gallery Journal for 2021. So number 1021 will be obviously January. So February's, if I don't do one until February, will be 02 or number 2, or whichever number I decide. I may want to do another one next week, or I may want to do 1 or 2 or 3 in 1 month, who knows, but that'll just be the number right the way through. So that's the first one in the journal. And again, we can add little tuck bits up there if we want to. Now that I've put a little clip on there, we can add on later. So there. Hope you've enjoyed watching me create that. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.